Hey, what's up guys, this is your boy here, and we're back with some how to. Let's just say you get asked this question. Write the equation of a line with slope negative 2/3 through coordinates 3, -1 in point slope form. The first thing you will do is figure out what the question is asking for. The question is asking for you to write the equation of a line in point slope form. As said before in geometry lessons, the point slope formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. The next thing you do is figure out what you need to find. Since the question asks you to write in point slope form, which I already mentioned before, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, then that means you have to figure out what m is and what x1 and y1 is. The next step is to use what is given to you or that you know to help you find out what you need to find. So what's given to you from the equation is that the slope is negative 2/3 and that x1 and y1 are 3 and was supposed to be -1. Well, in this equation, it gives you exactly what you need to find. So now all you need to do is answer the question. The question wants you to put in a point slope formula, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. You know the slope is negative 2/3, x1 and y1 are 3 and -1. So you have a final answer of y plus 1, because if you subtract the negative, you're really adding the numbers, equals 3 times x minus 3. So now what if a question asks you this? Write the equation of a line passing through -2, 2, and 4, -1 in slope-intercept form. So the first step is to figure out what the question is asking you. The question is asking you to write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. I stated in geometry lessons before. So now that you know what the question is asking you for, you need to figure out what you need to find. So you know the question wants you to put in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So you need to figure out what m is, which is the slope, and what b is, which is the y-intercept. So now that you know that you need to find what m and b is, the equation only gives you 2 coordinates. But don't worry, you can figure out what m and b is just from those 2 coordinates. The way that you do that is by using the slope formula, since you know that m is a slope. The slope formula states that the difference of y's over the difference of x's equals the slope. So all you have to do is substitute in the coordinates. That will give you -3/6, which can also be written as -1/2. Well, you're not done there, since you have to figure out what b is. So far you got y equals -1/2 x plus b. To find b, all you need to do is replace x and y with any of the 2 coordinates, the 2 sets. For this one I picked -2, 2, and either way you should get that b equals 1. Now that you know what b and the y-intercept is, all you have to do is plug it into the slope-intercept form, and your final answer should be y equals -1/2 x plus 1. So say if you get an equation like this, determine whether the lines are parallel, intersect, or coincide. The lines that are given to you is y equals 4x plus 2 and 4x minus y equals 1. So the first thing you do is figure out what the question is asking you. Well, the question simply states to determine whether the lines are parallel, intersect, and coincide. So it's asking to classify lines. The next step you'll do is figure out what to find. Since the question asks you to classify lines, you're basically going off a checklist. If the slopes are the same, then they are parallel lines, not intersecting. But if the slopes are the same and the y-intercept is the same, then they are coinciding lines. So the next step you do is use what you know to figure out what you need to find. You know that the lines are y equals 4x plus 2 and 4x minus y equals 1. Comparing the lines are easier if they are in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to convert the second equation into slope-intercept form, and to do that I need to figure out what y equals. So after I do that, I figured out that y equals 4x plus 1. So now that I know that both my equations are in slope-intercept form, all I have to do is compare the equations. So from looking at the equations, I see that they have the same slope and different y-intercepts. So the answer is the lines are parallel. That concludes today's episode of How To. I'm out. Peace!